Welcome to Activations with JJ December 2022 Monthly Energy Update. In today's episode, we will be discussing the energetic themes for December, including expanding our sphere of influence, our connection to the Atlantean Golden Age, doing Akashic record work before we enter 2023, the Priestess Goddess template, making way for the Priest God template, detachment from our one-dimensional identities, and finally, connecting with rituals from past lives to activate dormant parts of our soul. Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me for this monthly energy update. I'm so excited that we are at the end of 2022. Do you want to know why? Because for about half this year, every time I said 2022, I accidentally said 2002, and now I don't have to worry about it. As we head into 2023, I won't have to think twice before I say that word. But it is incredible that we are already at the end of this super powerful year. It has been a very, very impactful year for many of you. I know that many of you have gone through a great deal of transformation and shifting during this year. And I know that this isn't really going to slow down, honestly, for 2023. There are some really amazing, amazing things that are going to happen for us in 2023. And I'm going to touch on a few of those in our annual energy update, which will come out the very 1st of January. But today I want to cover some themes that just affect us. Well, they might affect us more than just December, but are definitely predominant during the month of December 2022. The first one came to me in the wee hours of the morning when Spirit often wakes me up about 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm sitting there and an idea pops in my head. And the 3 words that came into my mind were sphere of influence. Those 3 words were what came through. And as I pondered just a little bit more what they meant and what Spirit was conveying to me, I definitely felt a need to share with you the importance of you expanding your sphere of influence. A lot of light workers, a lot of starseeds and empaths have sheltered up a bit, have isolated themselves just because they felt it has been difficult to deal with a lot of other people's energy. But I want to tell you, we are stepping into an age where your influence is needed more than ever. And you know what's interesting? Spirit said, remind them that we are not just inviting them to hang out with other starseeds or quote unquote people who are awake. We are encouraging them to do work in the 3D. Because honestly, what happens is you become a bridge for the 5D and 4D into the 3D. You are able to influence others who are wanting to find that bridge. It's so interesting. In fact, I have someone who I'm mentoring right now, an incredible coach and light worker named Lindsey, and she came up with this download about who she was offering her services to. She decided to niche down and to connect with people who are hairstylists, helping them to better understand how to use human design, how to tap into their intuition. And again, this is people who are going about their work as hairstylists, but so many of you who are in those types of industries are honestly healers. You are spreading light codes all over the place. Your influence is really affecting the people that you see every single day. And many of you who are listening to this already realize that, but there are many, many people in those industries who don't know for sure, who aren't aware and aren't awakened to the fact that they are indeed healers. And I love, again, the work that Lindsey and others like her are doing, connecting what we do in the 3D with some of these 5D concepts. You know, another thing that Spirit dropped in was the joy and simplicity and beauty of doing a job like working in a nursery, working in a coffee shop. We aren't needing to do all these grand things. It's not beneath us to do that. We are still spreading light codes, whether it be sweeping sidewalks or in corporate. So I'm not saying that everybody here needs to stay in a job that doesn't feel a vibrational fit, but I am saying if you feel like it's your place to stay in a job like that, don't doubt it. Because what they told me is this: if everybody leaves those industries, if everybody leaves corporate and some of these other jobs, then there's going to be a void of people who are already 5D and they need us to be present in there. So that was an interesting thing that came through. So that is our theme of expanding our sphere of influence. Now I want to drop in and mention one last thing about that. Spirit made specific mention of the fact that we are being invited to expand our sphere of influence with the 3D stuff, but also with people who are like-minded in the spirituality. And that means all of this collaboration that is starting to happen, gatherings. If you are listening to my podcast all by yourself and you haven't yet found a place to connect with others who think like you, I want to encourage you to call that in and manifest it, whether it be attending one of my virtual gatherings or a virtual gathering of another light worker that resonates with you, or actually going to a sound bath, a yoga class, a meditation night with people in your community who are vibrationally going to connect with you. All of those things are ways we can open up. It's so fascinating because I think it was about a month ago that Spirit dropped in. One day I was thinking about going to like Walmart, a place where you usually feel like as an empath, you're going to be bombarded. And Spirit said, there's two things you need to remember about when you go out and connect with other people's energy. One, most of you in the spiritual community have programming regarding the fact that crowds drain you. But you have to understand, you are more powerful than a crowd of people. You have been given gifts and talents and light codes to spread everywhere. When you walk into Walmart, just start spreading those codes. Just instead of being the one receiving, why don't you be the one giving? You are powerful. And the other thing that Spirit said is you are also discounting the fact there could be someone who has something to offer you, whether it be somebody just offering you a smile or somebody sitting down next to you at the coffee shop and striking a conversation that ends up being very expansive. So those are just a few things, again, that I want to remind you about expanding your sphere of influence. We're going to shift now into the second topic, and that is connecting with the Atlantean Golden Age. This topic was already coming through after 1111. For those of you who have been listening to the podcast, you've heard me talk about Atlantis. I talked about it in my latest Ascension School episode. I talked about it in an Ascension message. All of the energies of Atlantis are coming through, and we are being invited to release any of the traumatic timelines and connect in with the timelines where Atlantis continued and Atlantis grew and expanded and was a beautiful place of light and connection to divinity, because that does exist technically. What my guides mentioned to me was a few different things. First of all, when I sat down to write the outline for this particular energy update, and I mentioned this theme, Atlantean Golden Age connection, immediately I felt dragons around me. I was like, who are you? Why are there dragons around me right now? And they said, well, we are the Atlantean dragons, and we would like you to invite your listeners to connect with us, to help them to be able to build this bridge to the Atlantean 5D. And so that's the first thing I want to mention. They personally dropped in because they want to connect with you. So call in those Atlantean dragons. Again, releasing the trauma of certain Atlantean timelines is key. I've had many people reply to me saying that they remember those traumatic lifetimes. Those are not the only lifetimes that occurred. There were timelines where everything was beautiful and it did not end in destruction. As we connect with that 5D timeline of Atlantis, we will begin to merge that with our current reality, shifting Gaia, honestly, shifting the collective, shifting Gaia, shifting personally. Due to this, I actually had a download come through and was encouraged and invited by my guides to create an offering for those of you here who are listening of special Atlantean past life regressions, where we will do exactly that. We will release the trauma and we will connect you to the 5D Atlantis timeline and any lives parallel that you are living there. Now, these are special one-on-one sessions. I have a limited number of those. And I am also doing a group past life regression. So if either of those offerings are attractive to you and resonate with you, I want you to go ahead and check out the links below. But the group past life regression is designed specifically to help you connect with those Atlantean energies. Again, for those of you who are like, well, I don't know if I had a past life in Atlantis. If you have even a tiny inkling of feeling or connection, I want you to consider participating in some of these events, because my guess is yes, you do, and you are being gently coaxed to come into this energy. It's important for us as a collective to continue to connect with those Atlantean 5D timelines, just as we are being invited to connect with the Lemurian 5D timelines. And that's something I talked about a month or so ago. Something that I'm really excited about is, for those of you who have participated in my mentorship program, there is a special offering that I am providing along with a few of my friends. And this is an Atlantean co-channeling group. This is a small group where people are honing their channeling abilities, and we're also connecting into Atlantis. So I will give you updates on that, because I know that not everybody can participate in it due to the fact that it is kind of a limited number gathering. But I can absolutely create information and let you know what goes on in those to some degree that would be pertinent to what you are experiencing. So I'll be sure to share that on the podcast and keep you updated. All right, another offering that came through. And again, this is interesting how Spirit's like, we're going to show you what offerings would serve those who are listening. And one of the offerings was, it's an Akashic Records Inventory. Spirit was like, here, this is what you do. You let people know that before 2022 is over, it would be good for everybody to go through their Akashic records, especially their contracts, and take a look at them. Not only finishing contracts, but also manifesting contracts for things that you want to experience in 2023. They're like, you guys need to remember that you are sovereign beings, you have free will, and you are creators. So invite people to come into the Akashic records and to create in that space what they would like in this 2023 year. So again, that is something that's really fun that I have coming up as an offering, but not only just because I have an offering, but also because for those of you who have worked in the Akashic records or dabbled in the Akashic records, I want you to ask your guides to help you bring to light maybe some of these contracts that need to be finished up and released, to help you know how to create and to carry out new contracts. These are all things that are at your fingertips. All you have to do is ask. You've done it before in other lives. You're just remembering what you already know how to do. Listen to your intuition, trust yourself, and do an Akashic Records inventory for yourself. All right. The next topic that I mentioned in the beginning of this episode was Priestess and Goddess template, making way for the Priest and God template. This all dropped in as I have been working with the Priestess transmissions, a book written by my lovely friend Amron and her colleague Amy Belair. Both of them are very gifted, amazing light workers who created this transformational book, this extremely energetically charged book called the Priestess Transmissions. I am dropping into a special group community that they have there to provide activation. And what had come through as I was prepping for that was the fact that you have to understand that awakening and activating the Priestess template is just one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is facilitating and calling in as a collective, calling in the resurrection of the Priest and God template, shifting away from the distorted templates which have often prevailed throughout organized religion over these last thousands of years, and helping people clear all of that religious trauma out of the way so that we can see what the true and aligned priest God template is. Because why would you have a priestess goddess template activated for part of the collective and not want to have the other half of that, the priest and God template? That is bringing us into unity consciousness as we activate those two templates, right? That is the union of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And for those of you who know and understand that many of us have experienced lives as different genders, so this isn't just about gender, this is literally about an energy within all of us. This is about awakening the divine feminine and the divine masculine within all of us, within our relationships, and within the collective as a whole. So that is a very beautiful topic for the month of December. I encourage you to think about that a little bit more, potentially journal it, call in resources for you to know how to go about doing this. The next topic that I want to briefly touch on, and again, there are lots of topics. Every month there seem to be more topics and more topics, and I am excited to just continue to move through them. This one talks about detaching from the identity of a one-dimensional self. You know, we oftentimes are wanting to connect to who am I? Who am I? So what Spirit said, we have to shift, not we have to shift. We invite you to shift. Wording is very important. There is no force. We are being invited and encouraged to shift from asking, who am I, to who are we? That might seem a little bit puzzling. It might feel like you are speaking as if you had split personalities, but you do, honestly. You are a multi-dimensional being, and you are a collective here of different souls, different lives you've lived. This is exactly what I do in my soul integration process. During soul integration, we call in these other aspects of you. So you are really we. And I say to everyone who goes through that process, as you bring in these additional soul aspects, you are literally bringing in gifts and tools and energies to enhance what you are already doing, to give you a bigger toolkit, right? To give you access to things that you did not have access to previously. And, you know, if one part of you can't cover something, then you ask another part of you. And it is literally almost a little bit like feeling like you have split personalities, because I've gone through it myself. But I give myself permission to be all of them. And that's what's truly powerful, is knowing that you are all things. This really helps you shift into a mode of not feeling like there's a right or a wrong, or shifting into like, if I don't figure out who I am, this one thing, this one piece of knowledge, who am I? Which one starseed race am I a part of? It's really about which of all of the things, and slowly discovering those. Does that mean you have to figure out 20 parallel lives all at one time? Heavens no. I would recommend that you slowly pace yourself and begin calling in your soul aspects, your parallel lives, whether that's through past life regression or however you decide to do that, to come into a full understanding of your multi-dimensional self. That's truly what my guides were encouraging us to do as another theme for December. There's one final little theme that I want to touch on, and I don't want to call it little because it seems pretty big to me. It's come through in a lot of sessions. And this one is about incorporating ritual. Again, as I've been working with the Priestess transmissions and this Priestess portal, which we are about to launch, this first live activation on the 2nd of December, the doors are closed for now. In case you are wondering, we will be opening them back up in the spring, but I am learning a lot, and I really want to share my learnings with you. One thing that I've learned is the importance of rituals. Now, for those of you who have read The Return of the Divine Feminine by Trisha McCannon, you are going to know this is where it came from. This is where I got this idea from. But the idea was about rituals and how important rituals are. Rituals connect us with the energies of everyone who has ever done that ritual. And so what we're doing when we participate in a ritual, whether it's lighting a candle or incense or something small or something big, we are harnessing the power of all those who have come before, who have also participated in that ritual. Now, I know that you can see that can be used for lower density purposes as well as higher density purposes. So the intention that I set is to invite you to connect with past lives, experiences that you have had where you are tapping into the higher vibrational rituals. I have been taking so many people into past lives where they are in a temple setting, a ritualistic setting, and very beautiful, beautiful activations are taking place. And it occurred to me, their memories of those rituals are simply being activated. And those rituals are, again, extremely powerful. They will endow you with special gifts and special knowledge. And really, it's an awakening and a remembering that more than anything else, because these are all things that you know, and there's a veil. So as we remove the veil through ritual, we will be able to access parts of ourselves that we previously haven't been able to in this life. We will be able to access knowledge that we have not been able to previously access in this life. And my guides are dropping in right this very moment and telling me, for those of you who are trying to expand your abilities to channel, ritual is a key. As you participate in ritual, you will be able to expand your channel. And you know what's so fascinating? On 11/11, I was in Los Angeles for a multi-dimensional channeling ceremony, and it just so happened that we were privileged enough to have a very, very talented Buddhist monk who is a painter and works right under the Dalai Lama, and his name is Lama Tashi. He was an artist in resident at the art gallery where we did our multi-dimensional channeling ceremony, and he channeled a painting and led us in meditation at the opening and closing of our ceremony. It was fascinating because my friend Queenie, who crafted this entire offering with me and two other friends, she decided to name it Multi-Dimensional Channeling Ceremony. And it always I was like, why are we calling it a ceremony? Is it a ceremony? It just occurred to me that when Spirit dropped in and said everyone who attends that ceremony is going to have their channels opened wider, that it's because we were tapping into ceremony and ritual. And that's really what we were doing. In fact, those of us who were leading this particular ceremony, it was myself and Queenie, and then there was Ryan, Carla, and Monica. I can drop all of their information below if you're interested in following them too, because they are incredible light workers as well. But what happened was many of us felt this has been done before. We know that what we are going to do tonight has already happened. So again, it was almost like everybody there was experiencing a giant past life regression as we went through this whole thing. And this was to awaken and lift the veil on our abilities to channel. Such a beautiful thing. So again, the bottom line is consider how you might be able to incorporate ritual more during the month of December. Speaking of ritual, there are often many rituals that happen during solstice, and that is one last offering that I have done, kind of a special offering, a special gathering. I will be doing a December 21st solstice goddess activation. This is again a group offering where we will call in beautiful goddess energy as we go through this time of solstice. Now, I set the intention that whether or not it's winter or summer for you, because I know I have lots of people down in the Southern Hemisphere, but it doesn't really matter because you will get what you need out of this gathering. So I invite everybody from all over the world to attend that solstice goddess activation. Okay, I think we have covered all of those December 2022 topics. We have so many topics for this month. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get all the topics in for the year of 2023, but I'm excited. I'm really excited to publish that episode on the 1st of January as well. Speaking of January, one last thing that I want to pop in and say, just to give you kind of a heads up on it, it's a really exciting event that I'm going to be holding with my friend Queenie down in Los Angeles. She is under Reiki and Flow Healing in Instagram. If you are interested in following her, again, I've mentioned her a couple of times in this episode, but Queenie and I will be putting on a retreat, a day retreat in the Los Angeles area in January. And it'll be at the very beginning of January, not like the 1st of January, but around that first weekend of January. And we are again thrilled to be able to do that live and in person. So please be on the lookout for more information about that. As soon as I have that ready, I will be sending it out to those of you who are on my email list. And speaking of my email list, if you're not on my email list, you can hop onto my website, activationswithjj.com. If you scroll to the bottom, it will let you sign up for that email list so you can be aware and alert to all of the amazing things that have coming up. And that's it for now. I promise we are at the end of the podcast. I have no more add-ons except for to say that I hope you have a beautiful December. I'm holding space for you in whatever way you are transforming and shifting. I am sending you so much love, always feeling so honored and blessed to co-create with you, and reminding you that I am you, and you are me, and we are we. Until next time.